So, all right, I'm getting ready to sew the Charlotte shoulder bag by Sew Yours. And you can go grab the pattern at sewyours.com. I'll also put a link in the description for you to just go on your own there. So I'm just going to go over our pieces. I'm going to be doing a black cork and a purple. It's kind of a rainbow or a shaded batik is what they call it. This is from Indolove Creations, and my black is from So Many Creations NY.com. All right, so this is the front flap. And it just goes like this with the, so you need 2 mirrored pieces, 1 for each side. So that will be the front of the flap. And then we need the same for our front panel. So the front panel will look exactly the same. 2 mirrored pieces. And then this bag has a decorative handle strap that goes all the way around the bag. And that's what this is. I'm doing it in the purple. And I've already put, divided it in half and put a piece of double-sided tape down the middle. And we're going to fold that raw edges together. It's going to be sewn on the bag, so it doesn't matter if there's raw edges in the middle, which you won't see. And then I have my shoulder strap, which is, 4 inches. And she gives you the measurement in the pattern, but we'll fold that in and on itself, and then it's folded again and sew. So that will be just like any other normal strap. And then this is my back panel in black cork. This is my gusset in black cork. This is my, I am using lavender waterproof canvas. And this is my lining gusset. You will need 2 zipper facings. You don't have to do zipper facings, but on the black, I think the purple looks really nice. So I have 2 of these, and I also have lining pieces, and then 2 zipper ends. This is the inside pocket. That is a divider pocket, so you need 4 of these, 2 with Decaville light out of the seam allowance and 2 without. Very nifty piece of it. This is the lining of my bag flap, and then these are my 2 lining pieces in, again, waterproof canvas. I am using purple zipper tape. She gives you the measurements for those. And I am going to put purse feet on it. So I've got some purse feet with, they display open. So I've got 5 of those. I am using a magnetic snap for the closure of the bag. 2 D-rings. And I put these in here. I may use these instead of the D-rings. These are just triangular rings. They serve the same exact purpose. So I might do those. We'll see. 2 swivel clasps. I am using 1-inch hardware, so these are 1 inch. And then 3 zipper pulls. So I have 3 of those. And then I might put a couple extra little woven tags. This one says Made in America. I love it. All right, so that's what we have. Once we get the front panel and the flap together, we will be adding a piece of Decaville light. All right, we'll get started. All right, I am gonna show you what I'm gonna do, and then I will speed up the camera. This video can get very long if we don't pay attention to that. So this is the decorative handle piece that goes around the bag. I put a piece of 1/2-inch double-sided tape in there, and then I'm gonna fold those in, and that will be done until we get ready to use that. Here's the shoulder bag strap. Again, this I'm using cork, black cork, and I'm gonna fold it in on both sides, and then I'm going to fold it to itself, and then I will top stitch that one. And then for the flap, outside flap, I have this for the center, And I have these that are mirrored, and I'm going to stitch those together. And I will come back when we do the top stitching. The front panel is exactly the same, so I will do that as well. And one of them I'll do the top stitching with you, but it's exactly the same. So I will do this, and I'll do some fast forwarding, and we'll get started. All right, so we have the front flap and we have the front panel. I will do the top stitching on the front flap with you, and then we'll fast forward and do the front panel, the front side. The other thing I wanted to do with you just real quick is on this decorative handle piece that goes around the bag, she gives you measurements here to stitch, and you stitch 1/8 of an inch down to this mark, 1/8 of an inch down to this mark. Be sure you leave the threads long. Don't backstitch here, and pull those threads to the back on both ends. So I'll be doing that on both ends here in just a minute. But let's do the top stitching on here. So you'll do it on both sides. She has in her pattern 3 rows of top stitching. I'm going to do 2. So the seam is towards the outside, and then I am doing my first row just 1/8 of an inch from that seam. And take your time here. This is very visible. Because whatever you do on this piece, you have to mimic on the front panel. So again, make sure you check your bobbin before you get started. And then I'm going to do just 1/8 of an inch from that previous stitch. All right, so that's what that looks like. I am using kind of a variegated purple thread for this pattern, but you can see the 2 rows. I'll do this one, and then I will fast forward those other 2 things. You do want to do a fairly long stitch length here, either a 4 or 5, depends on your machine. And I am using cork today. This probably is could be, depending on the interface you use, a domestic friendly project. And I mean, I didn't really finish that sentence, did I? A domestic sewing machine friendly project. All right, so there you have the top stitching on both sides of that middle panel. That's going to be so pretty. I also will go ahead and just, these didn't match up quite completely, so I'll just clean that up a little, make it straight. Not a big deal. All right, so I'm going to go do that for the front panel, and I'm going to do the stitching for on our decorative strap. And then I also already did the handle, the shoulder handle. You can see how pretty that is with the variegated purple. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I'm now ready to sew my flap together. I have right sides together, and we're going to sew at our full seam allowance. Now, I will say, if you have a magnetic snap with the prongs, you can put that on now, or you can wait. I have the rivet magnetic snap, so it goes through both layers. Either way, you can leave the top open. I'm going to close the top just because I don't need it, because I put this through both layers. All right. And just go slow around your curves so you get a nice curve. And then we will trim this and clip those curves. All right, I'm going to close that top. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And why don't we want to do that? Because we have to turn it right side out. Yeah. That would be disastrous. I mean, it wouldn't be disastrous. Like I said in many videos, everything is fixable, but you do not want to do that because I have to turn it. Goofy girl. All right, I'm going to clip these all the way around about an 1/8 or 1/4 seam allowance. Somewhere in between that. All right, let's turn this out. And get our curves nice and pushed out. This cork is very nice to work with. Okay, let's just roll those corners a little. If you don't want to use your fingers, there are tons of tools out there to push corners. Okay, I'm going to clip those. And then we will do 1/8 inch top stitching. This seam right here is a little thick, so you're just going to want to go slow over that. Okay, so I'll just do a little top stitching, and then we will place our magnetic snap on the front flap to match the front panel. All right, so I inserted the magnetic snap on the flap, so you can see that it matches perfectly on the sides. So that's all that is. All right, so those two are done for the moment. The next step is to do both of our zipper pockets, one on the outside. And I didn't stitch anything yet, but I did just place that according to the pattern directions, and then I will do the zipper pocket there, and then I'm going to also do the interior zipper pocket. They're done exactly the same way. I will do one, and then the other one I will do fast forward. So just real quick, I'm going to put my little ID on here. So I do this before I put my zipper pocket on. And there's many places you could put your ID, so wherever you choose to put it is fine. If you don't have one either, that's absolutely perfect as well. You don't always have to have that. I didn't have them in the beginning either, so... These are from Heartwood and Hide. I think I've mentioned Jade and her husband several times in my videos. They're just wonderful. So I'm pulling my threads to the back, so I did not top stitch. I left one of these too short. It just makes it very time consuming to do it, which is annoying. Okay, good enough. I'm just gonna burn that. Okay, so there you have that. So now, this is the back one. We'll do the outside one together, and then I'll fast forward the other one. So place your facing on the back pocket, and then we're going to stitch around the outer corner. And again, I am leaving, let me pull that. I am leaving my threads long because I will also pull that to the back. Just looks nicer. It's not a must. All right, let me get that out of the way. And this is very visible top stitching, so a couple things. Just remember to have enough in your bobbin to do it. And then go slow. This zipper pocket, the one on the interior is not as critical, but might as well make them all look nice. It's hard to see this purple thread on the purple. Okay. All right, let's tie those off, and then we will put our zipper pocket in. And I went too far on my stitches, so I'm having to do those individually rather than together. No big deal. Happens. See how much easier that is when you leave those threads long? All right, so there we have that. So now, just like we've done before, you want to cut your hole in your back panel so we can do our zipper. So just be careful. You can use a seam ripper, you can use an X-Acto knife, you can use scissors, whatever you have. I get it started with my X-Acto knife and then I finish it. Like I've said in my other videos, just be sure you are not cutting into your facing. Because that, you just have to start over if you cut your facing. Again, it's fixable, but it's painful. Doesn't matter what this looks like. And I always, let's see, on the inside. Nobody is going to see it. Now I already had put some double-sided tape so I can insert my zipper. I know you probably think I'm going so slow, but just want to be sure I do not cut my facing. All right, so there you have it. All right, so let's get that zipper going, and then we will install that. So I have my zipper. She gives you the measurements for her zipper. And then I'm just going to put that on this end, fabric right side up, zipper right side up. And I'm just going to baste that in place. I have my basting stitch on. Now you can use double-sided tape and put these on it if you want to that way. I don't need it. Now we just want to make sure that we're matching the sides of our pocket. And then we're going to pull that up. So again, this is the right side of the zipper, and the right side of the pocket is on the inside, which is what we want. Okay, so that's what you have right now. So we are going to put our pocket on just like this. And I'm just going to put them on one side at a time. So I'm going to take this double-sided tape that I had off the top, and I'm going to put that, I have to do it this way so I can actually see what I'm doing. But you want your zipper pull going to the right, or I mean to the left, so it opens to the right. I'll try and do it this way so you can see, kind of. So I'm just making sure I have enough zipper on each end, zipper tape, and then you want to just get that as even as you can. So I have zipper tape there, and I have plenty of zipper tape there. Okay, that's good. All right, so now I will pull this down and again get this on as even as you can. It does make it easier if you do have cotton quilting, because you can iron it. I have waterproof canvas, so it's a little harder to iron. All right, so I don't have my zipper pull in there. I think it's easier just to put the zipper pull in after I get it on there. Don't forget that part. That'll be very distressing. All right, so now what we want to do is cut the zipper. This is how I do it. There are many methods to putting zipper pockets in. I find this is just the easiest for me. So all I did was cut the bottom, and now I am going to splay that open so that when I do the interior rectangle here, I'm not closing my zipper shut. All right, so again, just make sure that's open. And we will stitch all the way around. We will also pull these to the back. So don't back stitch. You don't have to do that. You can certainly back stitch. Here, I probably could, because the thread matches so well. Move my zipper out of the way. Come down the side. And then again, let's just make sure our pocket is out of the way. I'm gonna pull that thread to the back. let's pull that to the back and tie those off. And then we'll finish this pocket. We don't need to leave this open, so we will close it on all 3 sides. All right, so there you have it. And right now our pocket is open. And now we will just pull our both pocket pieces down, and they match on the bottom because we cut them. We're gonna pull the front back and just close our pocket on all 3 sides. And then we will cut off our extra zipper tape. On both ends. There's not really much to cut off here, so I think I'll just leave it. But I will burn the end of my zipper tape just to help prevent any fraying in the future. All right, so there you have it. On the back, I've got my zipper pocket, and on the front, I've got on the back of the panel, I've got the completed zipper pocket. All right, so I'm gonna do the interior zipper pocket exactly the same way, but I will fast forward so you can see it. Okay, so I finished both of my outside and my inside zipper pockets. On the outside, I did put a rivet on each side. You don't have to do that. She does mention it in the pattern, and I just think it looks nice. So there's the outside back pocket. So now I'm just gonna attach my flap to the outside back pocket, making sure that I'm matching my center marks and that I have the same amount of space on either side. So I'm just basting this in place. All right, so there you have that. So I'm going to set that aside for just a minute, and I'm going to grab my decorative handle, and my double-sided tape's coming up a little. That's all right. And if you remember in a previous step, we did a row of stitches on either sides down to a mark she has in the pattern. So 1/8 of an inch from the side, pulled those threads to the back, and I did it on both ends. So now we want to grab our outside gusset. And in the pattern, she shows you how to mark this. I don't know if you can see it very well. And cut it. It's the bag itself has is narrower at the top than it is on the bottom. So I already cut the one side. I'm just going to cut this one. Okay. And then I did put a piece of Decaville Heavy. She calls for that in the pattern, Peltex or Decaville Heavy, in the bottom, just to give it more stability and durability there on the bottom. And so the next thing we are going to do, oh, I'm so sorry, is put on our decorative bag handle. So a couple ways you can do this is you can mark down the middle, and I might just do that. I think it just probably be easier. It can be a little hard if you don't have a long enough ruler. So I often just will put 2 rulers together and get that as good as I can. And you probably cannot see my mark because it is pink. I grabbed the wrong marker, but that's all right. It's there. Right down the middle. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a piece of 1/2 inch double-sided tape on this. Just from that stitching down to the other stitching. I don't want to put it on that top stitching that I already did, because that's how we're going to attach our D-rings. Or our triangular rings. I haven't decided which I'm going to use. Okay. Okay. So now we are just going to put this, tape this down, and then we will top stitch it. There is some overhang. Yeah, and I forgot. There will be some overhang. And I just like to mark the middle of this, so I get that in the middle, so I know I have it pretty even on both sides. Yeah. All right. You need to be as precise as you can be with this. It's very visible. All right, so there you have it. So that's on our, and now we are going to get our D-rings. Now I'm trying to decide if I use my, let me just see what this triangular ring looks like. Let me put it back over here so you can see it. It is a 1 inch, but it's snug. And then whichever you choose to use, you put it down. And so it's about, I put mine, it's about 1 inch from the top, little more. And then I'll double-side tape that. I think I'll use those. Why not? Okay. So now I'm going to just secure that with a piece of double-side tape. And I try and put the tape right down the middle. All right. That looks good. And I'll just repeat that on this end. Yep. Pretty good. All right. All right, so the next step is to mark for all of our rivets and then top stitch this on the back gusset. So I will do that, and I'll speed it up. This video can get really, really long, so I just want to make sure it's about an hour. So I'll be right back. All right, so we have our decorative strap handle on both sides. The rivets are pressed. We have our 5 purse feet. We have our triangle rings or your D-rings, whichever you're going to use. And then on the back to cover the purse feet, because they can be a little sharp, I just put some double-sided tape, not double-sided tape, gray tape. There, so that's what it looks like from the back. It just really looks nice here because you don't have any back stitching. This one would probably be okay because I'm using purple variegated, and the actual batik purple vinyl is variegated. But I pulled them to the back because that's what it shows in the pattern. I think it looks nice. All right, so now we are ready to put our front and back panels on to our gusset. So I am going to start with my panel that has the flap. Make sure all your centers are marked, just like we've done in most of my patterns. And we are going to start on the bottom here. So where's my clips? So you'll see me use a lot of clips. There are several ways to do this. Some people will just use tons of clips like I'm going to do. Other people will use staples, staple it in place, which I have done. On really tough, sharp curves, I have used a stapler, or some people will use double-sided tape. And then once you get that bottom done, just bring it up to the top and then go down. We probably will have to do a little snipping on the gusset to get it to lay nicely and not have any puckers. So I get that mostly done, and then I'll go over to this other side and get that started. This is going to be such a pretty bag, purple. I know I've done a lot of purple in my videos. I think there's a trend there. All right, let's clip this a little more so it stays. All right, I'm going to do this one side with you, and then I will fast forward. All right, so let's do a little bit of clipping. Now, you have a decent seam allowance, but you don't want to overdo your little clips. So I just do about 1/8 inch clips all along that curve. And you'd be surprised how much that helps. So let's do it on both sides. Things are falling into the trash over there. Okay. So now this should splay and give us a nice curve. So that it's not a really tight curve, but it is a little bit of a curve, and so you want to prevent any puckering when you sew this. So it's always a good idea just to do some clips there. All right, so that's what that looks like. Nicely splayed around that curve. And I will sew this with the gusset side up. I think that really helps to get a nice seam without any puckering. I will also use my stiletto. But you can see I'm using lots and lots of clips. To get that where I want it. And to hold it while I'm sewing. Okay. All right, we're gonna do that stitch. Again, just go slow. If you feel like you're struggling a little bit, just go slow. This thing's bent down there. There we go. It's easier to do it along these straight sides and actually on the bottom as well. And this really isn't too bad. I mean, this would be a beginner friendly option as far as putting sewing curves in. So I need to pull that a little bit here. There we go. As you go around that curve, just move your bag so that you don't get those puckerings. You know, this part of it just takes practice. I think one of my first curves around corners was just horrendous. I had puckers everywhere. And you know, if you have a pucker or two, it just makes the bag very unique. Uniquely yours. All right. Now, because this is an outside pattern, outside seam, I am going to do another row of stitches all the way around just on the seam side. Some people think it doesn't make any difference. I do think it helps a little bit. So I am going to do that, and then I will attach the other side, and I'll be fast forwarding that. All right, so the next things we're going to do is work on our inside. We're going to work on our inside gusset, our inside zipper pocket, and then we will be putting them all together. So this inside gusset piece, you cut the same way you did the outside, just like in the instructions, so that it is narrower on top than it is on the bottom. And then you need to somehow get a good center mark. I overdid this on the ironing. If you're using cotton, you can certainly just do what I'm doing, or if you use waterproof canvas, you can iron it on the right side, just not on this side, to get a good center mark. That's all I did. So I put some of my center marks on the ends and in the middle, and now we're going to just cut along this line. So we're cutting the lining gusset in two. And then I am going to put my zipper tabs on each end. Pay attention to the length of her pattern where she tells you the length of this zipper. So I'm going to do both ends of my zipper tab. And then we are going to attach that zipper tab to our interior divider zipper pocket. Both these pieces have Decaville light on them, and these pieces have nothing. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I am going to do that, and then I'll be back. All right, we are going to do the inside gusset. So we finished, on the last step, we finished our inside divider pocket and we basted around the entire edge. Now we are going to attach our gusset to that pocket. And you want to use, on this divided gusset piece, you have a straight edge and then you have a slightly curved edge. The side that you want to attach to the divider pocket is the, I always have to remind myself of this. It is the straight side. So this side is a little bit curved. This, what I've attached here, is the straight side. So I'm going to attach this side. You can see you will have extra on both ends. So start in the middle and clip all the way up and clip all the way up. You may, depending on the fabric you use, you may have to clip your gusset. I don't think with this waterproof canvas I am going to have to. And then just do it at your seam allowance. That it's in the pattern. And note the seam allowance in the pattern because it's a little different than some of the others. I'm going to do this one on camera and then I will fast forward the other side. This is a little smaller seam allowance because this is the first side. And when we put the other side, the other part of the gusset on, it's the full seam allowance. So in reality, this is, in some respects, this is a basting stitch. She doesn't call it that, but that's what I would call it. All right, so there you can see that's 1/2 of the gusset attached to our zipper divider pocket. So now what I'm going to do is take my other half of my lining gusset, the straight edge, and I'm going to put right sides together. I'll clip that, and then we'll come back and continue. All right, so we have the finished divided pocket and our gussets. So the next step is to attach our lining pieces to our gusset, and that really helps to have your centers marked. So just clip all that in place and do one side at a time. And then that will finish our inside lining. And then we are ready to put them together. All right, the lining is done. The outside is done. Now we just need to put the two together. So if you could see, on the zipper side of my lining, I left a pretty good size opening in the bottom so that I can turn it through that. And then I did finish this other side, so there's no hole in that one. And then I did trim down the seams. The other little tip I'll give you is when you do leave a hole in the bottom, make sure that you're doing a little straight stitch where you're going to turn. It just helps with keeping those, when you're turning, gives it a little more strength for that. And then on this zipper pocket on the inside, I do also have a hole so I can finish this edge and then close this. So this is probably one of the tougher parts of the bag because you put this bag, and I'm going to pull you over just a little so you can see. You put the outside into the inside on the side where the hole is. And then we will clip the top and it feels like it's not going to fit, but trust me, it does. So it's a hot mess right now. So then once I get it in there, I am going to match my corners and all my centers that I've already marked on the top of each bag. I'll clip it and then I'll stitch it at the full seam allowance all the way around, and then I will turn it. All right, so we got the bag turned. That really was not too bad. It helps when you're using materials that are a little easier to turn. This is cork and a lighter weight waterproof canvas. So I've got it turned. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this gusset piece, and I'm going to pull it through my zipper pocket. And I'm going to close that up, and then I'll close up my zipper pocket, and then we will top stitch. Oops. Sorry, Siri. I'm going to have to learn to take her off before I come in here. All right, so you should have your centers marked. Let me get this pulled out a little more. There we go. So clip your centers and then clip that entire bottom part of the gusset, and then do your same, a little larger seam allowance. And then we'll push that back down in and we'll close up that zipper pocket. Leaving that big opening, and she tells you to leave a good size hole. I always on the err on the side of leaving a really huge hole. Okay, let's stitch that. All right. So I'm just going to tell you what happened here. When I was going around this, the other side, my needle broke. And I didn't realize why, but I actually broke 2 needles because the first time I didn't realize why I didn't investigate good enough. And it's because my triangle ring was up and it was hitting the needle. So just words of the wise, just be careful. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, you'd rather, when you're top stitching, you'd rather not have those things happen. But it actually looks pretty good all the way around. Got just a hair wonky right here, but that's okay. Makes it a unique bag. So there you have it. There's the inside. Get my threads out of there. So the back, oops, let me see if you can see it. There we go. So the back divider half, the front divider half, the back zipper pocket, and then the divider inside pocket. So it's a very roomy bag. It's not huge. And then you have your back zipper pocket. So let's put our handle on. I do kind of like these triangle rings. So there you go. Isn't that just so pretty? I'll have to tweak, you know, pushing out the sides, but the sides, the bottom, with the purse feet, it really is a very pretty bag. So that is the Charlotte Tote shoulder bag by Sew Yours. Thanks for watching. Please be sure and subscribe, like, and feel free to comment. Thank you. Bye-bye.